I'm Joe Jablonski, and I will be going over circumference measurements with the help of Jason Newsom.
I've signed the activity waiver and I understand and have asked questions about the document and still wish to participate.
Alright, Jason, if you could please remove your shirt, then we can begin getting some circumference measurements. We will start off with the abdomen, so if you can please stand with your feet just shoulder width apart. The abdomen measurement is going to be taken around the waist, right about at the umbilical level. So Jason, I will go around your waist here. Line this tape up right about at this measurement where we have marked right at the umbilicus. I want to have enough tension on the tape measure to where it's nice and firm, but so we're not here moving that skin around. So the measurement here will be 945 millimeters, and then we will take the tape measure off, give that skin a chance to settle, and then we will do it again to make sure that our measurement is accurate. So again, right at the umbilical level. And this time we are at about 945. So our two measurements there, we'll mark down 945, 935. So those numbers were not close enough. We need them to be within 5 millimeters of each other. So we will take a third measurement in this area. This time we are at 945, so that measurement will work. 945. Now moving on to the arm. Jason, if you could turn this way a little bit. The area we want to measure on the arm is between the olecranon process, which is down here, and the acromion process up here. So we will take the tape measure, find these two landmarks. Jason, if you could bend your elbow at about 90 degrees, put the 0 right there. We will come down to the bottom of the elbow. It is 38 centimeters, so half of that would be 19.5 centimeters. So we have that marked right here, halfway on the upper arm. Now Jason, we can relax your arm. I'm going to come inside here with the tape measure to find this measurement. Again, we want to have the tape nice and even on the skin, not pulling too hard. Come right across our landmark there. We're at about 350 millimeters. So we'll take that tape off. 350 for our first measurement. Let that skin settle, and then we'll try it again. Here's the second time, Jason. Nice and square on the tape. Measure right across that mark that we made. We are at about 350 centimeters this time, which is the same as our last measurement. So we can move on to the buttocks and hips, which will be buttocks and hips. We want to look for the maximum amount of circumference that we can around the butt region. So standing off to the side of Jason here, Jason, I'm going to reach around you to grab this tape measure. I'm going to come down, find the max circumference area right along your buttocks. Come around here, nice and tight on the tape measure, but not too tight. And I see we're at about 1,005 millimeters. So we're going to mark that down. Our second time, Jason, I'm going to reach around you again, grab this tape measure, come right along the biggest part of the buttocks there. Tape measure nice and tight. About the same that we had last time. And we are at about 1,010 centimeters. And that is 5 centimeters apart, so we will accept those numbers. Next, onto the calf. Jason, I'll have you turn a little bit this way. With the calf, again, we want to find the biggest circumference. So we have marked right here where we think that is. Jason, if you can pull your shorts up a little bit. Thank you. Come around the calf here, right at that mark that I have made. And we get about 305 centimeters. So we'll mark that down. 385 centimeters. Second trial. Okay, so I'm going to reach between your legs. Get your calf measurement. And we get a measurement of about 380, which is an acceptable value. So we will move on to the forearm. Staying on the right side, just as we have throughout this whole process. Jason, I'm going to have you extend your arms slightly forward with your palm facing upward. And I'm going to find the biggest circumference on this measurement as well. I have a mark here that looks to be about the biggest circumference. So we'll come around right on that mark. Make sure the tape is laying flat against the skin. And we're at about 295 centimeters. Mark that down. And then try a second trial. Try to keep that arm nice and straight. Surround your arm here. Right at that mark that we made. And we are at about 287. 287, which is more than 5 away, so we will take a third trial. And this time we are at about 295, which is exactly what our first measurement was, so that is acceptable. And then now we will move on to the hips and thigh, which will be, we'll have Jason standing with his feet about 10 centimeters apart, right there. And if you could pull your shorts up a little bit, I'm going to measure right below your buttocks. So as I get down here, I'll be reaching between your legs, pulling this tape measure up between your legs until right below your butt here. You can lift that hand out of the way. Thank you. Pull that tape measure nice and snug. And we find about 610 millimeters. So we'll mark that down. And then try a second measurement. Again, Jason, I'll be reaching between your legs with the tape measure here, right underneath the buttocks. Pulling that tape measure nice and tight, nice and snug. And we get about the same measurement, 610 millimeters. So we'll mark that down. Those numbers are good, so we will move on to the mid-thigh, which we will need a chair for. So Jason, I'm going to pull this chair in front of you here. You can take your right leg and put it up on that chair so your knee's at 90 degrees. Perfect. And then pull your shorts up a little bit for me. I'm going to measure from this crease here to the top of your knee, right above the patella. And we see it's about 39, there we go, about 39 centimeters, and half of 39 would be 19 and a half. So we made a mark here at 19 and a half where we will find this measurement. Jason, I'm going to reach under your leg and grab this tape measure. Make sure the tape is nice and flat along the skin. Pull the tape measure around. Nice and snug, but not too much that the skin is overlapping the tape. And we get a measurement of about 470 millimeters. So we'll mark that down. And then we'll try our second measurement. Make sure again that tape is nice and flat on the skin. And pull it nice and tight, nice and snug. We're at about 496, which is quite a bit different than our first measurement, so we will attempt it again for the third time. Make sure that tape nice and flat on the skin. There we go. And we get about 495 millimeters. 495. So there was probably something off on that first measurement. That is why we did it 3 times. And then lastly, we'll get this chair out of the way. Slide it back over here. Jason, I will measure your waist, which is going to be the narrowest part of the abdomen area between the xiphoid process and the umbilicus. So if you could lift your arms up for me. You can see this spot right here where it looks like it's about the most narrow spot. Wrap this tape measure around you here. Go ahead and put your arms back down for me. Then make sure that tape is nice and flat along this region. We'll come around here and we get about 880 millimeters. So we'll mark that down. Again, Jason, if you can lift your arms up, I will reach the tape measure around you again to get this measurement. Go ahead and put your hands back down. Tape nice and flat along the skin. About equal pressure. We get a good reading there. We're at about 880 millimeters again. So we will mark that down. And then that completes the circumference measurements for this assignment.